Alright, cottage pie. Alright, there's a difference between a cottage pie and a shepherd's pie, and that is that the cottage pie uses beef mince or ground beef, and a shepherd's pie uses ground lamb or minced lamb or mutton. So that's that cleared up. Traditionally, cottage pie is the oldest of these type of pies, whereas shepherd's pie was invented sometime during the Victorian era, and cottage pie came to be somewhere perhaps in the 16th century. Right, let me run you through the ingredients. We've got 20% fat beef mince. You can go for an even lower fat content than that if you can get it. I can't at the moment, so I've got this one. So I've got, what, 500 grams, the best part of a pound and a bit. I've got half a yellow onion, cooking onion, and I've got about the same weight of celery, and I've got about the same weight of carrot. I've got 2 spuds, and the spuds come to about the same weight as the meat. Alright, so that makes a bit of sense doing that. So spuds and meat, same weight. I've got some butter, I've got some milk, I've got some salt, pepper, and I've got a dash of Worcester sauce, which needs to go in it. Alright, so the first thing I need to do is get all these vegetables prepped up. I need to get these potatoes peeled, diced and cooked. I want to cook them thoroughly because they'll be turned into our mashed potatoes for this, and I'll show you my technique for mashed potatoes. Alright, I've chopped my spuds up. Some of them are actually over here in the water, and you always start your spuds off in cold water. That's important. That's in cold salted water at the moment. And there's my celery, my carrot, my onion, and there's my ground beef with the lid lifted off, and everything else is just ready to go. So we need to get some heat under this pan and get things started. Alright, let's get the rest of these spuds in the pan. That's plenty of salted boiling water under it. You'll need a fork and you'll need a whisk for the potatoes. I'll be showing you that later. Alright, let's get some heat under that. I'll turn that up to max, and I'll get the big one up to max for a good strike heat. Okay, that pan's coming up to its heat. I've got the potatoes on full boil, and I just want to drop in a couple of tablespoons worth of oil in there, cooking oil, and into that I want to go first of all I want to go in with my onions and get a turn on those, and then in with my celery and carrots. I just want to stir and fry that for about a minute. Okay, that's been stirring and frying for about a minute, and I want to go in with my beef now, and I'm going to do that like that and lift that fella off and get that all mixed in with the veg. So I'll stir and fry that now until the meat starts to brown. Okay, as we're stirring the meat, we trying to break up the larger lumps and make it look less like solid pieces of meat. So as that's cooking, we'll break those down. And there's one little thing I neglected to mention in the ingredients, and that is you'll need a beef stock cube. I'm using an OXO cube, which we've got a little technique with these. We can flatten them out, keep them in the foil, just keep squashing it, and then you end up with a little bag of beef powder, and very, very useful. So what I do, as soon as that is in that position, I break it open and just let it fall into the beef and stir that to mix. As soon as we start adding liquid to it, all that will all start to break down. Okay, you can see it's been shipping liquid and now it's starting to fry again as all the liquid is boiling off. And this is the chance you've got to get that lovely umami flavour into your meat. Let that just keep cooking away in that oil. Don't worry about the oil, we can drain that off later, all the oil and fat. But right now we need that there doing its work. Alright. Just let that cook. And let it begin to fry again. Let it fry hard till it starts to give off that lovely fried beef smell. Alright, that's starting to fry up real nice now, and you'll notice that the fond is beginning to form on the bottom under all that fat cooking. That's what we want. We want that because that helps to flavour the meat. So once we've got to this stage, we can add in a couple of more items, and the main one is going to be liquid. So I'm going to add in a full glass of water, and stir everything into mix. Some good flavours going on in there right now. And at this stage I'm going to add a little bit of salt. So I'm going to add a pinch, what's that, about a teaspoon of salt, maybe a little bit more, and just stir that in. In traditional cottage pie we don't use garlic. Garlic is not a traditional English ingredient at all. And neither is covering the top of the pie with cheese. Alright, that's for cheese addicts only. Just try it without cheese occasionally, you might find you like it. And a dash of Worcester sauce. Not a lot, you don't need a lot in this, just a little dash. And now I'm going to cook that down again. I'm going to add just a little bit of tomato paste. Just add it from a tube. What's that, about a dessert spoon? 2 teaspoons full. That's all you need. Tomatoes add a wonderful depth of flavour. Tomato in itself has got a great flavour. But I don't want this to be all about the tomatoes, so I only use a little bit just to give it another layer of flavour, and you'll find that that pimps it up really nice actually. Right, I'm going to test it now, taste it and see what it's like. Oh, that is good. Yum. That's bang on for now. We'll let that go as that is. It's pretty good. And then what I want to do is I want to still keep it cooking at high heat. And I'm still trying to break up the bigger clumps of beef. I want this a little bit more smooth. I think I might add a little bit more water. Just about that much. That goes in. And I'm going to turn the heat right down now to about 1/3 of my available heat. So that's right down, and I've turned it down to 2 on this machine, on this cooker. And then I'm going to put the lid on that and let that simmer for about half an hour. Alright, let's check if my spuds are done. Yeah, they're coming apart nicely. Right, I can drain those, and I'll just show you another little technique. So that's them drained, and I put them back on the heat and steam them for a couple of seconds. Just a few seconds. Turn the heat off, just give them a quick steam. Just pull them off the heat for a second. They're steaming nicely actually, and then that should just about do it. So it's only a few seconds, and now we take them away and work the magic on them. Alright, so let's get our spuds out. Fresh from their steaming, and then into the spuds I want to put some of this lovely Welsh butter, and you need to be generous with the butter, look. And I want a little bit more than that, so I'm going to put in that much as well. So what's that? A couple of good slices of butter, you work it out. And then what I want to do is drop in some milk, splash of milk, and then we mash it. We get them spuds mashed up. You can put them through a ricer if you like. It's up to you. I've got a ricer, but I hardly ever use it. I use it for making spaghetti ice cream. So you mash it, and you get it to that stage, and then you mash it again. And you've got to use floury spuds for this. You can't use new potatoes or anything like that. You've got to use your floury old potatoes for this. And they're nice and loose, so they're still quite loose and very, very tasty. Now I cook those in quite a lot of salt and water, so we shouldn't need to salt them too much, but I'll give it a taste first. That's good. Needs more mash. So just get completely savage with the mashing, and you want to mash them till you're not tasting any lumps at all, not even little ones, because that's the secret. People give up the mashing too soon. Right, let's see where we are with that. Another taste, another spoon. That's right, it's bang on the money. Right, the next thing we do is we give it a good old whipping with a fork. And then you get out your trusty whisk and you give it a whisk. Alright, notice at no time during this whole process did any cheese get added to it. You can add cheese to it if you're that much of a cheese addict, but don't call it English cottage pie, because if you put cheese in it, it isn't. So there you are, the taters are mashed and whipped up lovely. I'm going to put those to one side now and finish cooking my meat. So once your half hour has elapsed, that's been simmering away there for quite a while. I'm going to take a slotted spoon, and then I'm going to take out the beef, lifting it away from its liquid, and spoon it into a 1.5 litre Pyrex dish. You can use a baking tray, as long as it's got fairly steep sides, it won't matter. And then I'll get all that out, all the meat out and into the Pyrex. And then I'll show you what we're going to do with the liquor that's left behind. So you see, we've got to the stage where we've lifted most of the meat out of it, and then we're left with this liquor. Now what we want to do with that is just tilt it and skim it, and the way I do that is to get a spoon. So I get a bowl, I get a spoon, and then I just tilt it and skim it off the top until I've got most of the fat off it. You can also pour it into a fat separator, but I find that a bit cumbersome. And you carry on until you've got most of the fat removed. Okay, you're never going to get all the fat off it, so we'll leave it like that and I'll show you the next phase. Alright, so we take the stock that's left from the fat and we pour that back on, and it should be just about enough. Let me just move that around a bit, mix it in, see what it looks like, and then push it down, but not too much, till it gets like that. Okay, right, the next stage is we take our spuddies and we just start putting them on top, in the corners first, in little dollops like that, and then we work our way round. Notice how loose the potatoes are from whipping, really nice and loose, very creamy, very light. The best potatoes to use are something really fluffy like a russet or a King Edwards. They're really good. Or if you can't find russets, King Edwards, just find a baking potato, because they're going to be really soft and fluffy and perfect for this kind of dish. Any kind of mashed potato, you need really soft, fluffy potatoes. So new potatoes will not do in any disguise. And then we get those on top, and my brother will be delighted if I leave any in the pot, because he will eat that. And then I'm just going to get a fork now. So now with the tines of a fork, I like to go across it and then just work like that, and then go across it in the other direction and then work towards the middle. So you end up with these nice forked ridges, and they, when it bakes, they crisp up and turn up real nice. So get that in, and now that is just about ready, and that now goes into the oven, 180 degrees Celsius, which is about 350 Fahrenheit, and that goes into the oven for between 30 and 40 minutes. But keep an eye on it, you don't want the top to burn, and really once the top is browned and looking perfect, then the pie is going to be absolutely wonderful. Alright, let's have a look at this. Oh yes. Very nice indeed. So there we have it. Right, let's cut into this bad boy and see what it looks like. It's probably wise to let it cool down for about 10 or 15 minutes before you serve it, but I've got no chance of that happening in this household. So here we go. Oh yes. So there you go, the ultimate British comfort food, cottage pie. If you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to follow my channel, please subscribe and be sure to click the bell icon to receive notification of all my upcoming videos. Thanks for watching.